Hello and welcome back to Krafts by Katelyn. I'm so excited for today's video. I'm showing you how I put together this beautiful farmhouse windmill using items from the dollar store. So make sure you stay tuned to see how I put that together. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up. So for this project, you will need one of these placemats from Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter what it looks like or if it does have writing on it because I will be painting over this. And it did only take one for this small project. And also some of these thin skewer sticks that have the pointed end. These were only $1 and you can pick them up from Dollar Tree or Dollar General or Walmart. They are very inexpensive. And then I'm using this assorted pack of dowel rods from Walmart. They were only 98 cents. Dollar Tree also sells smaller dowel rods, so you definitely can try to use that, but you might have to glue them together to get them a little bit longer. And then the last thing that you will need is a milk jug lid. So not including the paint and the glue that I already had, I was able to make this windmill for under $3. So first I had to get one perfect windmill blade so that I could trace that over 6 more times. And I just guesstimated whenever I started this, I started with 2 inches and then I added another 1/4 of an inch. So the outside is 2 1/4 inches. Then I marked that I wanted my blades to be about 3 1/4 inches long. So in the middle of that dot, I measured about 1 inch for the inside of the blade. So then I just took my ruler and I made diagonal lines to connect the two together. I did redo my measurements a few times until I really liked the size of the blade, so you might have to adjust this to make one on your own. You could definitely make this larger or make this a little bit smaller, but after I got it to the way I liked it, then I just cut it out, and then I'm just going to be using that as a template to go over it 6 more times. I think I ended up originally cutting out 8 and then using 8 at first, but at the end I ended up just using 7 of these blades. I used about 1 skewer stick per blade and cut them down to about 3.5 to 4 inches by scoring them with my scissors and then breaking them off. Then I used that first small stick that I cut and used it as a template so I would know how long to cut the other sticks. Now I needed to add the stick onto the back of each windmill blade, and I'm using a piece of tape to hold it on there first because I need to add this stick in the center, and if I do add too much glue it will melt to the placemat, so I am putting the tape down first and then putting just a couple dots on the top and the bottom of the stick behind the blade so that it does not mess up my placemat pieces. For the rest of them, whenever I put them together, I did lay them beside that original blade that I made just so that I could kind of put the stick in the same place and to make sure that the excess that's hanging off is even. I am going to be using this milk jug lid as the center. This works so good because it is a soft plastic where I'm able to push my windmill blades into the plastic all the way around. So you can tell that I kind of struggled on the first one. I did have a hard time pushing it in there, but I learned a little bit later that it is way easier if you put the little lid down on the table and hold it down and then push the blades in while it is on the table. But to get these even, I just went across of each other both directions, and then I tried to fill in the little holes with more blades. I tried to push them in far enough, so probably about 1 inch of the wooden skewer stick was showing through. And like I say, it was way easier after I laid it down on the table and just held the lid down firmly and then pushed it in. It went in a lot smoother. And I also said this before, but originally I put in 8 blades, and then I noticed that it was just really crowded in there, and some of them were starting to overlap, and I kept having to pull them apart. So I ended up taking out one of those and then spreading them out a little bit more. So here's what it looked like after I had removed that 8th blade, and I just love it. I think it is spread out really evenly and looks good. I didn't want to fill the center of this with hot glue because it will melt the little milk cap because it is a very soft plastic. So I just took little dots of hot glue and went around the little sticks. To make the stand that a windmill is attached to, I am going to glue 2 of the larger dowel rods together, and then I'm going to take some of the smaller dowel rods and put them horizontally, and then I added a couple of the skewer sticks to make the brace. So you can see I just had to measure it. This will always be different at whatever angle that you glue your dowel rods together at, but I just scored it and then broke them off so they would fit perfectly across these 2 dowel rods. I did that for the bottom bar as well. And then what you're seeing right now is going to be the back of the windmill because I want all the hot glue to be around the back. I tried to add the tiniest bits of hot glue so that it would not ooze around the front, and it did make a lot of little hot glue strings, but I was able to remove them. And then after I got the tiniest little dowel rods cut, I tried to add some glue to them too, and then crisscross them to look like they were actually metal braces.
Watch the clock ticking off the wall, but tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes.
So you can see whenever I flip it over, all the ugly hot glued pieces are in the back, and then you can just see that cute little crisscross in the front.
I just wanna feel alive.
And then I'm just gonna see what it looks like and try to figure out how I was going to attach that, but I did decide to go ahead and paint them first so they did not fall apart. And I definitely would recommend taking this outside and spraying it with your metallic silver spray paint first. That always gives things such a beautiful galvanized look, but it is such a cold and nasty and windy day. I didn't want this to fly away, so I just gave it a nice thick base coat of my silver lining Waverly chalk paint.
It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down.
I did want this windmill to appear that it was metal, and I want it to look really rustic, so I'm going to be using some of the elephant chalk paint, and I'm just going to dry brush a lot of this all over the windmill. Instead of dabbing the paint on like I usually do to get the galvanized look, I thought it looked so much prettier. I did test this on a scrap piece of the placemat, but I thought it looked a lot prettier if you just went in straight lines, straight out from the windmill blades. I also made sure that I got the little spindles around the windmill, and then I got the center just to make it blend in really nicely, and then I did the same thing for the bottom of the windmill.
Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car.
And just in case this falls over or something, I didn't want anybody seeing the ugly back on this, so I did decide to go over it with some of my base paint that I used for the silver lining chalk paint. After these had completely dry, I did just attach them using some hot glue. After the hot glue had dried a second, I did flip it over and attach it a little bit more on the back so it would hold together better, and I just propped the stand up on some scissors so that it would dry like that. And then I thought I just needed a little bit extra something, so I looked up windmills online, and a lot of them have a more rustic look by adding some like rust spots with brown on there. So I ended up taking my truffle color in the Waverly chalk paint, and I just brushed that on the edges of the blade and then just barely into the centers.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else.
I love how the brown paint just gives it so much more definition and adds the different colors in there.
No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive.
And then again, I also did this to the bottom so that it would coordinate really nicely with the top.
It's just what I do.
So a big thank you to my mom for helping me come up with this and how she figured out how to make the blades out of placemats. I thought this was so beautiful, and this is what it looks like 100% finished and setting with some of my other farmhouse decor. I think it just looks beautiful, and you definitely could just make this out of things that you already had around the house. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and thank you all so much for watching. Bye!